NFL Conference Championship spread picks. It's just me today, no Andrew, but we'll be back for the Super Bowl show together. Basically, I'm up by 3, and it's going to take a comeback of Andrew to win every game to at least come back and tie. We'll go over last week real quick. So, for the divisional matchups, we had the Los Angeles Rams at Green Bay Packers. I took Packers -7. I got the win there. Andrew took the Rams. Baltimore at Buffalo. I took Baltimore. We both took Baltimore -2.5. They lost the game outright, so not good by us. Cleveland at Kansas City. We both took Cleveland. We kind of lucked out with the Mahomes injury. I get that, but still, the Browns lost by 4 or 5. I think it was 5. We got the win there. Tampa Bay at New Orleans. Andrew won his favorite bet. I lost. There's a lot I can say about that game, honestly. The Saints did not cover, of course. Now, I want to talk about 2 things in these games that really kind of changed. And this is both from Sunday. There was a time where in the Chiefs and Browns game, it was the fourth quarter, with, I want to say there was 4 or 5 minutes left. The Browns had a 4th and 7, I think it was. They were on their own 35-yard line or so, or maybe 30 even. And I was saying to myself, go for it. Like, you have to go for this, because they were down by 5, the Browns. And my thinking was, worst comes to worst. Like, you basically turn over on downs, right? The Chiefs come back and kick a field goal, and you're still down 8, 1-possession game. But if you punt, you give them a longer field, more chances to get first downs, and they run the clock out themselves, which is exactly what happened. But the upside of going for it on 4th and 7 from your own 35 in that situation, I know it's Chad Henne, it's not Patrick Mahomes, and maybe that influenced his decision, but the Browns' defense was not really doing that well the entire game. I know they held the Chiefs to 22 points, I think it was, but you could tell if the Chiefs really wanted to get themselves a couple first downs, they could do it. They go for it on the 4th and 1 after the crazy Chad Henne run for 13 yards, but it was a great game, I will say that, but I just disagreed with Stefanski not going for it in that situation. I feel like the upside outweighed what he actually did there. I think if he went for it and they got it, the Browns might go down and win that game, and they might be in championship weekend. But if you punt the ball, we saw what happens when you punt the ball. Maybe they got a 3 and out, and maybe I'm not talking about this, but that's not what happened. I think they got 2 first downs, and Chad Henne threw that rollout pass to Tyreek Hill, and the game was over. So I don't really agree with the coaching decision. I know it's kind of like crazy to go for it on your own 30, 35-yard line, but when you're playing Kansas City as a underdog by 10 points, it's like, sometimes you got to go for it. And I feel like in that situation, if it was a 6-point game and a field goal can put the game out of reach and make it a 2-possession game, then I'm saying fine. But the fact that the worst they could do to you, of course they could score a touchdown, but the worst that could happen really was going to be the Chiefs going down and kicking a field goal and it being an 8-point game. So I did not agree with that. And for the Saints game, it's very easy to point fingers at Drew Brees, and that was probably his last game, honestly. He looked shot. But honestly, I have 2 things to say about this. The turning point in this game, for me at least, was the Jared Cook fumble. It happened in the third quarter with 4 minutes left maybe. And I saw somewhere, some calculation had it as if he caught that ball, the Saints would have had an 84% chance of winning that game. I think the score was 2013 New Orleans. Now, let's say Jared Cook doesn't fumble the ball. It's 2013 New Orleans. New Orleans has the ball on the Tampa Bay 40, 45-yard line, and a chance to get at least a field goal probably with one more first down. They probably go on to win that game. But when Jared Cook fumbles, and that's what Jared Cook does, unfortunately, that kind of gave the Bucs all the momentum they needed. And speaking of Drew Brees, there was a time in this game where it was a 2-possession game with 5-6 minutes left. I think it was 5. It was 4 minutes, 57 seconds maybe, if I remember correctly. But there was a time where I thought it made a lot of sense to put Jameis Winston in the game. And I did say this. I made a video about Jameis Winston versus Drew Brees a couple months ago. And I remember specifically saying something like, if you're in the playoffs and you're down multiple possessions, you kind of have to go to Jameis Winston. And they had no Taysom Hill this game with the injury. Drew Brees he's an all right quarterback if you want to go down the field in 6, 7, 8 minutes and work a nice drive. I trust Drew Brees to do that more. But if you need a fast score and recover an onside kick, Jameis Winston's your guy. I know Jameis Winston has a lot of turnover potential, but Drew Brees had 2 or 3 picks himself. So it's not like you were really going with the sure thing with Drew Brees. I know that they would never bench Drew Brees for respect reasons and all that, but if I was just strictly playing to win that game, and I tweeted this as well at the time, I would have put Jameis Winston in. I don't know if it would have changed anything, but Jameis Winston offers you a lot more upside. He can throw the ball a lot further. He can extend plays longer. I just think it made a lot more sense, and Drew Brees obviously did not show any ability to throw the ball downfield that game. I don't think he attempted a pass over 20 yards, it felt like. So, it's unfortunate, and I'm sure Sean Payton kind of... he would never do that to Drew Brees, of course, but I'm just saying from I'm a Giants fan talking about it. If I was just, in it to win it for the Saints, I think I would have put Jameis Winston in the, with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And so that's pretty much it for those games. It was a fun weekend of games. The Packers game wasn't great. Baltimore's game was pretty boring, honestly, but they, that was pretty unfortunate for them. And, got to live another offseason of Lamar Jackson can't win in the playoffs. And, yeah, you guys kind of have a point with that. I think that was a dumb narrative, but they're really, the Baltimore offense is, if you can stop the run, it's pretty easy to stop. I think teams are realizing that, and there's a certain way to stop this team. And to hold them to 3 points for an entire game is very impressive in itself. And Lamar Jackson threw the very bad red zone interception, and that's kind of what lost them the game, obviously. And it was 17-3 at that point. So if they scored there, it would have been a 7-point game. But after that pick six, or it might have been 10-3, because I think it was a pick six. It might have been 10-3, honestly. But the pick six obviously did them in. And Baltimore, they're a team that when they're down multiple possessions, especially in the second half, they're not really built to come back because they're a team that's going to run the clock out, run the ball effectively, and they couldn't really do it. I mean, got to give the Bills a nice tip of the cap. They did a really good job that game, but Baltimore and Lamar Jackson specifically has to be a better passer. They really can't get to that next step, and they can't really get themselves to a conference championship or even a Super Bowl if you can only pass the ball for 120, 150 yards a game. It's just not enough. And teams know how to stop this offense. And I don't know if it's the offensive coordinator. I forget the guy's name now. Wow, that's not good. What's his name? I forget his name. I need to look it up real quick. But I don't know if it's his fault and not calling. Oh, Greg Roman. Yeah, Greg Roman. I don't know if it's his fault for not calling more diverse plays, because a lot of it is just Baltimore's offense is send 2 guys deep and send 2 other guys on drag routes. That's pretty much their offense when it comes to passing. There's no creativity. I don't know if it's they don't trust Lamar Jackson or what, but they have to get a little more creative with the offensive play calling. But their run game is amazing. But when a team can stop your run and they're just going all out to stop that, you kind of have to pass the ball sometimes, So that is my analysis, if you will, of those games. I didn't talk much about the Packers game, but there wasn't much going on there anyway. I mean, Jared Goff looked hurt, and yeah. So anyway, let's go to the championship round here. We start with Tampa Bay at Green Bay. I'm taking the Packers -3.5. I was really on the fence about this one, and Andrew, as I said, will go against me. He'll take the Buccaneers here. So why am I taking the Packers? All right, so it's tough taking the Packers because it's going to be it's the Buccaneers are very good at stopping the run, and they get Vita Vea back, who's probably their best run stopper, honestly. They get him back from the injury he sustained earlier in the year. And, Aaron Jones might not have a great game in this one, but I trust Aaron Rodgers from a passing game standpoint against these young corners of Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis and Sean Murphy Bunting, and they have a young safety in Winfield as well. They have a very young secondary, and I feel like as long as the Packers' offensive line can hold up, which they should, I think it's Billy Turner now plays left tackle. Someone named, I think it's Rick Wagner plays right tackle for them. They've done a really good job of replacing Bakhtiari, who is kind of irreplaceable, but the Packers have done enough to keep Rodgers upright. So, I mean, as long as their offensive line holds up okay, the Packers should be fine. I think they'll pass the ball all over them. Now, the problem here is that the weather doesn't look too great. It's 29 degrees, a chance of precipitation, possibly snow. So if that happened, then it's the Buccaneers probably can run the ball better than the Packers. But I do like what I've been seeing from the Packers defense lately. Their first-round pick of a couple years ago, Rashawn Gary, is playing a lot better, so that definitely bodes well for them. Obviously, Jair Alexander's a lockdown corner out there, and their safeties are playing pretty well. The Packers don't have a great linebacking core, but their defensive line is still really good. What's his name? Kevin King on the outside is okay. He's not great, but he's okay. There's no Antonio Brown, of course, and I guess the matchup to watch out for. I forget who plays slot corner for the Packers. I want to look it up real quick. Who is it? It is Chandon Sullivan. I don't even know who this is, but he has to have a good game, obviously, against Chris Godwin, because that's a part of the Packers defense they can really exploit. And maybe they can go against these linebackers and go with Gronkowski. So, I feel like it's going to be a really good game, but for some reason, I just trust the Packers more. I think the Packers right now are just, they've probably had the best offensive football this year by the numbers, and I just think that they've proven enough by now where they can keep Aaron Rodgers upright. Their receivers are awesome. Devontae Adams obviously is the best, but even guys like St. Brown, Equinemius St. Brown got involved last week a couple times, and Alan Lazard made a big catch. I forget if it was last week or the week before. I think it was last week he made a big catch. He dropped one, but made a big catch after that. So I feel like they'll be okay. I don't expect it to be like a very high-scoring game if the weather's bad, but I still feel like the Packers are the better team. I'm an Aaron Rodgers fanboy. I want him to win, so maybe my heart's going into this too much, but I'm going to pick the Packers minus 3.5. Now, for Buffalo and KC. So, Buffalo did a really good job on defense in the playoffs. They almost lost to the Colts the first round. I mean, you can blame Frank Reich for those decisions he made. I kind of stand by it. I feel like he was fine. I don't think Frank Reich did anything that stupid, honestly, but he's kind of playing the percentages and playing the analytics into his favor, so sometimes it doesn't work. But I think the Bills have done a really good job on defense lately, and their run defense has gotten better. I feel like they've been better in just about every area on defense, so I don't know what KC's offense is going to do in this game. I mean, they don't have I think Sammy Watkins is back, actually. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire might be back. Le'Veon Bell, I don't think is really that involved. But the Chiefs have proven by now they don't really need a star running back. They can win games with Darrell Williams. They don't really care who their running back is. But who's going to guard Travis Kelce? Is it Mulatto? Is it Edmonds? Like, we don't know who's going to guard these guys. And for Tyreek Hill against Travius White, should be a good matchup. But I just feel like Patrick Mahomes now, he's been practicing in full since 2 days ago, like Wednesday maybe. That's not 2 days ago, 3 days ago, 4. But he's been practicing for a while in full, so I feel like Mahomes is fine. I feel like I trust this team to at least, give Mahomes enough time to pass. It's not like the Bills. I mean, the Bills have had a good pass rush with Hughes and who's the other guy? I have some other guy who's got a couple sacks, but they've had a good pass rush in the playoffs, but I just trust the Chiefs' offensive line. The way that you can beat the Chiefs on defense is by running the ball, and with, I think, Zach Moss is out, Devin Singletary is not going to handle 20-plus carries in a game. It does not happen really ever. So I just don't see the Bills being that great running the ball. Josh Allen can definitely run the ball, of course. And speaking of Josh Allen, this is like his first big playoff game. He was in the playoffs last year, lost in the first round. He's won a couple games this year, which is great. But playing in Kansas City in a conference championship's a different animal. And plus, they have some fans there, which definitely, I heard Jim Nantz was on WFAN, and he made like a comment about how loud it was there. He said that the crowd of 10,000 or whatever it was is like the same as it is when it's a packed stadium. So like the crowd was definitely making a difference there. And for Josh Allen, a guy in his first ever conference championship game, you kind of wonder, is that going to be too much for him? I mean, I don't think so, but Josh Allen has proven that he'll make some bad decisions sometimes. He almost had a really bad fumble. I think in that Colts game it might have been. So Josh Allen's always bound to make a mistake at some point. I'm kind of banking on that. But Patrick Mahomes himself for the Chiefs side has not really been too great at protecting the ball this year. Their offense, though, against the Browns looked awesome. Like the first half before he got hurt with the toe injury, the first, I would say, quarter and a half, their offense looked unstoppable. I know it's the Browns defense and not the Bills, but they looked really good on offense, the Chiefs. So, I mean, they've been there before. It's now 3 years in a row they've been to a conference championship at home. They have a lot of continuity there. I just like the Chiefs. I mean, I think their corners are good enough with Breland and Snead. Obviously, Stephon Diggs, it's concerning of what he can do, of course, but I just feel like the Bills don't have the run game. That's kind of what I'm banking on here. I feel like both teams can pass the ball very well. I would still take Mahomes over Josh Allen at the moment because, Mahomes is probably a little better and he has better weapons. So I will take Mahomes in the passing category. I think defensively, the Bills have a bit more talent, but I just feel like Spagnuolo's been there, the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs. He's been there many times, been playing in many big games over his career. He knows how to win. He knows how to scheme up against a guy like Josh Allen, I think. So I'm pretty sure the Chiefs will take away this win, which is why I have them as my favorite bet. Can it be the fact that Patrick Mahomes is still a bit loopy and not playing at a high level? Maybe, but I feel like I trust the Chiefs here, so I'll go with them. But that'll do it. As I said, favorite bet is me with the Chiefs. Andrew, I don't think even has one because he's not even picking guys he wants or picking teams he wants. So I'll leave it at that. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. We'll talk to you for the Super Bowl next week. I'll talk to Andrew about the Eagles' new head coach. I don't even know the guy's name. The offensive coordinator for the Colts. We'll get his take on that and all that good stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to you next time.